They told you to quiet down, but now you wear a crown. Visionary queen with a spark.
Welcome to You Matter in Business with Ariel Faith, your brand, your story, and your success, because you matter in your business.
This week, we are bringing back Lorrie Thomas, and she is the CEO, and I'm going to tell you what it means for her. It is the Chief Enthusiasm Officer of Web Marketing Therapy, where she diagnoses, prescribes, and guides happy, healthy, and wealthy marketing solutions. Now, that's a good combination. As a pioneer in online marketing since 1999, she's worked with the dot-com boom, the bust, and today's social media world. She specializes in helping intentional leaders create marketing processes and systems that actually support their professional goals without the stress. That is a beautiful, beautiful thing you are doing, because stress is not fun.
It is not fun. And I love that you say fun. I mean, we said that in the last time we were together. I joke, I call it the F word, right? I'm like, I'm going to drop the F word, like everyone don't get offended. Fun. And they're like, because we don't think about marketing as being fun. We think about it as being work or tedious or expensive or, confusing or so many different
obstacles
feelings.
Sometimes.
Yeah. And so there are ways that you can make marketing really enjoyable, and especially when it's working, it's something you are happy to do. And also, some of the things that make it fun are not doing things that don't work for you. Like I said in the last time we were together that I'm not a designer. I mean, I can't even, if I'm given a Canva template with preset fonts, I can't mess it up too terribly. It's just not my happy place. I'm a great reviewer. I'm a great creative director, editor, all of those things. But do what you do best and have others do the rest. Sometimes that's what makes marketing fun. Sometimes just not spending so much can make it fun. Sometimes it's doing it differently or just not, doing, there's so many ways that it can be happy, healthy, and wealthy.
Okay, so let's pick one aspect of it and talk about it a little deeper. But we talk about creating marketing processes and systems that support goals for a busy entrepreneur. What does that actually look like in practice? Now, we talked a little bit about this last week, but we didn't isolate the actual points, creating those systems or those processes. But we did kind of touch it last week.
Yeah, so we talk about it, and this is, our marketing therapy approach. We diagnose, prescribe, and guide. We listen, we understand, we ask, what are you doing? What do you like? What do you not like? Where do you want to go? What kind of goals are you looking for? And based on that, and we have a 5-factor framework, and I can share those 5 factors that we layer on top of all pieces of the marketing puzzle. And that begins to give us that, diagnosing whether it's, the issue is this or multiple things. But when in the prescription, the prescribe piece is like, well, what do we do about it? And then the guide piece is where we come in, and sometimes we're doing the heavy lifting. Sometimes we're working arm in arm with employees at a company and helping them through the process. But yes, the diagnose, prescribe, and guide approach, it breaks it, down to projects, processes, and systems, which I like to say for people that find my language a little too fluffy, that it's like, that's what it is. And it is identifying critical projects, knocking those out, and then moving on to identifying the need to haves and the nice to haves, but prioritizing based on what's going to have the biggest impact, but also things that build upon each other. If someone says, I really need help with SEO, and I'm looking at a website that really is dated or isn't serving someone, I'll say all the SEO in the world is going to just drive traffic to a website that you're going to need to redo anyways. So I'd propose we reallocate funds first. It's like baking your marketing cake in order. So, that's just one example of prioritizing. And sometimes things are fantastic. I mean, we do a lot of marketing audit work, and we've had companies, large and small, come to us and say, we're doing everything right. Now what? And we're like, wow, you're doing a phenomenal job with your marketing. And now what? That's actually a very different challenge and opportunity to take on. And just looking at things, and also just looking at ways to optimize. It could be PR processes, it could be how emails are communicated. In the sales funnel, we have awareness, communication, connection, service. All of those things support the sales process. And so, yeah, looking at what are the things that need to happen, maybe one time, daily, monthly, weekly, whatever, and who's going to own what? Who's going to own, who's going to make sure it gets done? And if there's holes, how can they be filled? But also optimizing so you're doing marketing on a rock solid foundation. And that just makes the most sense with time and budget.
Absolutely. With your experience in going back from the dot-com boom, which, I remember the Yellow Pages days. So I remember back when marketing was, you used to literally walk around town and talk to people, or put an ad in a paper, but it's definitely different today. So and now we have the social media, and it used to be a play in a free world. And I really don't believe that is the same anymore. So I'm curious to see your perspective. What has stayed effective and what has changed fundamentally, in your opinion, of how we have to work today versus the earlier days?
Yeah, so from my start selling online advertising in 1999, and y'all, we did party like it was 1999. That's a whole other podcast. It was a wild time. It was also, in a lot of ways, an ignorant time because there was so much money being thrown at these .coms, and a lot of them didn't have solid business models. And while I was really young at that time, I could see the writing on the wall, and I was very disillusioned with strategic list marketing. And we were selling banner ads. So back in 1999, online advertising was flashy banner ads that were living on people's websites. There were no Google ads. There were no Instagram ads.
Yeah.
And the targeting was still pretty limited. And the model was still based on the magazine models, still selling, or television models, selling things by cost per thousand, where, we started to get into the results-based, cost per click, cost per action. And that really changed the name of the game. The classics of marketing will always be there. Clear communication, clear message, something that is simple and succinct. And
solving a problem.
Still catching people's attentions, being in the right rooms. That's
right.
What does that mean? The right room might be targeting someone on Instagram who loves shopping with one brand, who may not have heard of your brand, and having the people in place who can manage those social media ads. And what we always said in advertising, you'd create, execute, and monitor, and then you'd rinse, repeat.
Yeah.
And you're always modifying and doing things like that. So, there's still a lot of the best practices in place. It's just now we have so many more options. It's been delightful to watch the evolution of marketing, especially digital marketing, and see now what the targeting capabilities are, what the reporting capabilities are, and really, like, the elitism of marketing went away when digital marketing came in to the landscape. Because I think of the show Mad Men, where it was the big budgets and the big agencies got the big results. Now there's a place and a space for everybody. I mean, you can be a holistic health coach in, Wisconsin, and market the heck out of your business and have a big, big business, even though you may not be a big team. And it's really, it's exciting to me. And there's ways that you can do low cost and no cost marketing. Things like social media, creating a strong email list, blog, social media, building credibility while building visibility and sellability and on all of that. So, but always, content is not king. That's a big saying in our world. Content is king. Content is not just king. It's the whole entire kingdom. And content is now blogs, it's photography, it's videos. Content has expanded to beyond the stock photos, what else can be done? And that's always what it's been about. Even your ads are content.
Yeah. And just curious, with the shifts with AI, not only in people not using it in a way that's smart because they don't know, right? It's lack of knowledge. They think it's like Google. You just ask it something and it'll give you an answer. Well, it makes up answers. So you have to really make sure that it gave you an answer that has a website to go find out where the answer came from. But people don't always know that. I say it a lot because I want people to know that.
Yeah.
So you have a lot of people shooting out information that may not even be right. They don't even know it. You have people showing up with, done it myself. I had fun with, face swapping and doing Superman and all that kind of stuff. Not Superman, but Superwoman, Wonder Woman. And, it was fun for a little while for me. It was a couple of years ago. But then I was like, this still isn't, it's missing something. It's soulless, right? Compared to a photograph that when I'm working with a client, there is a soul behind those images. Whereas the stuff that they can create is pretty good. Now, I mean, it's getting better, but it's still missing something. I noticed in the videos, the tongue never moves. So when you're watching an AI video, you can see that their tongue is never moving. And it looks so there's something off, but you don't always know what it is. So I'm
Behind the lens, crafting tales and news.
Bring your marketing, your brand to life with storytelling and strategy. Cut through the noise with clear messaging and compelling visuals that resonate with your ideal client. We bring strategy, story, and visuals to help you with your marketing. Visit arieljoyfaith.com and schedule a consultation and see how we can help you bring your brand to life.
Selfies here, just genuine sight. Authenticity in every light.
I love that you use the word soulless. It's funny. I think, just in our short time together, I'm like, I can hang out with you all day. Like we totally have shared values. It's a term I use a lot. And whether it's testimonial graphic or something, like sometimes I'll look at it and I'll say, this feels soulless. And yes, while AI can absolutely accelerate marketing and can make things sound better and can create outlines or, hey, can you take a look at this before
it's great brainstorming.
It's a total, I call it a virtual sparring partner where, the old days of where I'd turn my Aeron chair around in the corporate world and go, hey, can I run this by you? Well, my whole company's virtual. I have employees I've never met. So now, of course, we still lean on each other, but there's times where I'll just ask Chatty G, as I like to call it, that, hey, I'm reading this blog post and I feel like the intro paragraph is a bit soulless, or I feel like something's a little off. I can't put a finger on it. What is it? Like, oh, da-da-da-da-da. And just having that, I'm like, okay, I'm not having it necessarily rewrite it. I still believe in human-powered content, but there are ways that AI can absolutely keep the process moving. And for business owners, large and small, one of the biggest barriers to getting anything done is just getting started. And so, instead of staring at that blank document, it might be talking into Chatty G or whatever, AI tool you like and saying, I'm having a really hard time starting this recap about this entrepreneur event I went to that I need to talk about on LinkedIn. Here's the things that happened at the event, da-da-da. And then you click, and just by verbalizing it, it gets something to you that you're like, okay, now I actually have something to edit. There's all of these little psychological hacks I think about when it comes to marketing and, what great companies can do to get the great results. And, if there's little things that can just get you over the hump, if they're out there. But yeah, it's so interesting. It's like, trying to figure out, the fear of, oh, is AI going to replace everything? No, it's not.
And just so my audience knows, it's an honor to have you with us because you have been featured in Inc., Forbes, and Fast Company as a marketing expert. So you're not just a marketing person, you are an expert. So what is one piece of marketing wisdom you wish to share, especially with the heart-centered entrepreneur, in a way that they will understand? Like something that they can grasp.
For a heart-centered entrepreneur, always, whether it's leading your business, managing your marketing, hiring teams, lead with love. And that's love for them. It's love for the work that you do, but also love for yourself. And that's, respect is reciprocal. And when we show up in a way that is not just purposeful but truly passionate, then that helps drive decisions. And there's always that people talk about, like, are you making decisions out of fear or love? It's a really easy way to catch yourself. If you're like, like, if you feel that fear, it's like, hit the pause button and go back to, why do you do the work that you do? What do you love about it? What are things that, who are the types of ideal clients? Not any clients. In our small business days, yes, we wanted any client. These days, we want ideal clients. And when we lead with love, love for them, but love for ourselves, and we're aligned with our magic, it does not matter what industry you're in, wellness, financial, education, whatever. When you are clear on what makes you the thought leader you are, then, and you're not diminishing that, and you're not compromising that, that's loving. And that helps attract the right people. I think about in the early years of my business, where it was called Lorrie Thomas Web Marketing. I think someone asked who to cut the check to, and I made something up so I didn't sound like I was faking it till I made it. And my clients repeatedly said things like, oh my gosh, you are my therapist. You're my marketing therapist. I need to get on your therapy couch. I need a session with you, Lorrie. Or our web guy's holding our website hostage. We need you to do a mediation. I was like, okay, all of these therapyisms. And I was in my late 20s in Santa Barbara, California, and they're my competitors, if you will. And I never believed in competition. I believe in cooperation.
Yes.
But a lot of these guys that were like, oh, we're competitors, they got geeky about data. They wanted to talk about data and results. And like, yes, absolutely. I, have to generate results for my client. But I also talked about ideal clients and, branding and communications and, making sure that, it was just a softer, warmer, fuzzier approach. And sometimes I'd find myself maybe not owning my magic, or if someone's like, well, no, I want to buy ads. And I might say, well, I'd actually recommend first we do this. No, I want to do this. I found that when I rebranded my company to Web Marketing Therapy and owned the fact that I am the marketing therapist, it created this blue ocean, and it began to repel non-ideal clients. And so leading with love,
Which is part of the job of marketing.
it is. And it's that difference between fear and love. Fear is like, oh, I'm not going to get the business, where love is, I want to do my magic with the people who are my ideal audience. The last time we talked, I shared as a former educator, we were taught to teach to the smartest students in the room. That was a teacher tip. And that goes with marketing to our ideal audiences. We want to market to that ideal audience. We don't want to dim our light. We don't want to not speak our truth. We want to own it. And that means we may not be for everybody. But I have found that over the years, I am very mindful about who I bring into my container of business, not just for my company, but for my employees. I want everyone to love the clients we work for. I want us all to,
Yes.
get behind them. The horrible analogy, but you'll remember it. We always say our clients are Batman and we're Robin. We're like that trusty sidekick. Like no one really hears about us, but we're like the ones like, like taking punches on the side and helping out. And that's, that's what we do. And so, I've had folks, actually, I talked with a really amazing prospective client, and he had a coach that was like, I need KPIs and results. And I said, well, you have to understand that this person has no marketing foundation. And I shared and it's all education. I don't sell, I educate. And even in my proposal process, I educated this prospective client on things that were deficient in their marketing and things that we'd want to do first before we started social media. And this coach who was guiding him was just like, we need key performance indicators and we need results. And I educated him of like, well, there are things we can absolutely measure in the name of credibility, usability, visibility, sellability, scalability, my company's 5-factor framework. But I said, I can't promise we're going to put business in the thing. And the guy just wouldn't let up. And I just finally said, with love, it seems that we're not speaking the same language, and we would love to support the person you're coaching. I hope you see that we've given a lot of thought and a lot of time into educating you. We'd love to work with you. Let us know when you're ready. And But for me to actually, if I had taken that client on and agreed to things that I couldn't promise, I mean, it just would have been lose-lose and not win-win. So yeah, the more that we can make our decisions and lead with love, the better.
I love that. That's beautiful because it really does, especially when you're service and heart-based anyway. You don't have to become something different. You actually get to lean into your strength, which is that you are loving, you are kind, you are caring. You're not going to work with someone if you're not actually going to help them. And you're okay with that. If you lose a client because you can't help them for whatever reason, that's fine. You
Yeah.
know, it's not, oh, I didn't get my, you're not coming from that starvation mode. Oh, you might be, but it's not pushing you to do things unaligned. So I really appreciate that. The one thing I did want to ask you about before I let you go for today is, because I really enjoyed talking to you. You really do. We really do speak the same language. It's just,
sure do.
you have a great deal more education than I do, which I love because I'm all about learning forever, right? So you just go out there and learn more. That's the way it works. So the people who the fact that you say marketing therapy is really important for people to understand that concept, because a lot of times people will call me and they'll want a quote. I'm like, I can't give you a quote until we have a conversation. And that conversation may be long because I need to know who you are, what you want, where you want to go, and where you are right this moment.
Yeah. Yes.
Because I can't help you if I don't know what we're trying to do. It's not like, well, SEO costs $300 and I don't have a list that I'm just going to implement. So
Yes.
How do you help people understand that there is, with branding, with even marketing, I find, there's a lot of soul work that you have to do as a company, as an individual, or I don't know how it works in small teams. I would imagine the leader will have to do a lot of that work, but make sure the team is on task. But tell me how that works in real life, where you have to really get into some of those therapy-ish subjects without being a therapist.
For sure. So it's all about listening and understanding. And therapy, definition-wise, is about growth. It's about, being better or being your best self. And actually, the best therapist and a lot of, I find ethical therapists want to get their clients off the couch. Like the ones who are like, you are so messed up, you need to come twice a week forever. I'm like, really? I don't think so.
I agree.
We believe in no codependency. If we can get in and get out, or we can do something and move on to something else.
Educate your staff, yep.
Yes, absolutely. So I am just like you when it comes to I need a quote, we got to talk first. And I always say that we don't have a menu of services. And I personally, as the CEO of the company, offer a complimentary call or Zoom session. And I would like to understand more about where you're at, where you want to go. And then based on that, we will create a custom proposal for you. And I will say, sometimes I talk to someone and they're like, I'll be honest, I don't have a big budget. I'm like, great, so glad we talked about that versus me writing some big old fancy proposal that you can't do. And it's like, well, what can we do? Success comes in cans, failure comes in cans. Like, what can we do? Like, actually, for that small budget, we could do this. And then in a few months after we did this and this, do this, or we can train. And so, that's where the creativity comes in. And we, because of our success framework, the 5-factor framework, it helps us really quickly get in. And after we do the consultation and listen, then we're able to come back and go, ooh, okay, yeah, da-da-da-da. But I also am very honest with, there are companies that will happily give you a menu of services, and that works for them. We are a boutique agency. We have a very high touch, custom approach. What you obtain in this process is very educational, and it's all complimentary, and you walk away smarter whether you work with us or not. And and it's unpaid time for us, but it's so worthwhile. And that's we've over the years found ways to streamline the process and make it more efficient versus me talking to someone for 2 hours, or back in the old days in California, meeting someone for coffee, and 2 hours later I'm like, whoa, I just flushed a bunch of time down the toilet. I have respected, back to leading with love, I've respected myself more and have a very efficient process. But also, I mean, I feel like you and I are like marketing sisters. Like we love people, right? Like,
Yes.
I've learned that about you, is that I love people more than anything. And once I get to know them and hear them, get a sense of their personality, which is a huge piece of all of this work. Some people are more serious. Some are, I actually am meeting someone this weekend, and a friend of a friend's like, by the way, this person's not a hugger. I'm like, thanks for the tip, because I'm a hugger, right? Like, that's me. And
I always ask.
And like, those are the things. And actually, it's funny. I was like, it's funny because I already thought of that, and I had a feeling this person wasn't. So I was like, okay, that's so random that that came up. So how do we bring that forward? How does that come through in the photography and the content? I am very irreverent. I don't talk with I'm very passionate, but I'm not, like rah. I'm I don't like a lot of fluffy language, and so making sure that all of that gets factored in. And another thing that we have to factor in too is not just goals, budget, all of that. It's also who's on the team and who are the vendors. And sometimes it's like, hey, we've got an intern doing our social, and we're like, they're good. Like, let's keep them and do whatever we can to. And they're like, really? I'm like, yeah. Like, if like, I can't beat their price, or we'll do things where we'll empower the intern with maybe a little more tools, and then they're happy because they're like, we just learned a lot more about marketing.
Yep.
And so it's like, how do we leverage all of the resources and play off strengths? And yeah, it's a creative process. So it doesn't have to be a templated menu type of approach. And that's, it's not lazy, crazy, or bad. Some companies, it works for them. I still need to get up and be excited to do what I do every day. And it just requires a little more deep dive.
Yes, me too.
And
I
actually,
can sleep at night. I really do. When I hit that pillow, I want to be good about myself for the day. So,
oh, for sure. And actually, you made a good point too about the like the therapy piece of it. I don't do one-to-one Zooms or phone calls with other team members of mine on the phone, because sometimes these leaders, like, they need to dish, or they're like, I got someone I'm really not loving right now, and they need to stay on for the next da-da-da, and we, and bringing you on might ruffle some feathers, like, great, got it. Or, I've had the calls with people who are like, I don't want to be doing this work in a year. I want to sell my company and do something else. I'm like, great. That's information I need to know, and that I may not even share with my team until we're at we got an offer and all that. So I do appreciate the one-to-one and being able to, I'm honored that people are, it's all about confidentiality. Even on webmarketingtherapy.com, there is no our clients page, because therapists don't list all the people who are their clients. So we don't believe that we should leverage our clients in the way of like selling more work. There's this huge confidentiality, but I'm always honored with, what we're able to, and being able to be an extension of our clients' teams is great.
Wonderful. I'm so glad I brought you on. And thank you for sharing your wisdom, your expertise, and your time, because I know it's very valuable with our audience. And I have like 20 more questions in my head, so I'm going to have to bring you back again next year.
I would love that. I would love that.
Okay. Thank you very much from the heart.
See you next episode. After all, it is your brand, your story, and your success, because I know that you matter in business. Thank you for listening to You Matter in Business podcast. Please follow, share, like, and comment. I would love to hear from you. This podcast is sponsored by Ariel Faith Storytelling Marketing and Your Brand Photographer. The show notes provide more information on how to contact Ariel and more information about this episode. Thank you again.
They told you to quiet down, but now you wear a crown. Visionary queen with a spark, lighting up the dark. Rediscover your own fire, chase the dreams that lift you higher. Redefine your role today, brand new in every way. Build your confidence through my lens, break the walls you put on since. Embrace your much more. Do I meant for so much more.